Hello, hello. Today we're going to be looking at a song by Gracie Abrams called Cedar. One of my students is a big fan, and we're looking at doing the song in the lesson. So I thought it'd be cool to put together a video tutorial and show the approach we've taken. So for those of you who know the song, you'll understand like there's a piano in there, there's like 2 guitar tracks, maybe a mandolin. It's quite a pretty in-depth arrangement. So what we've done is we've kind of looked at breaking it down into sort of like how would we play this in a sort of pop rock guitar way. So I'll go over to the other screen and I'll walk through what we've got and then we'll do some playing. So basically for this one, we've just kind of looked at the main riff at this point and a supporting rhythm guitar. So the main riff is playing this melody part, which kind of bases around what sounds like a Lydian progression. And then it changes to this G chord sound. And that's pretty much the gist of that part there. The next part we have is just some basic chords to back it up. We've got a C and then a chord that I'm calling the C at 4 because we're essentially just taking our regular C major and we're just adding this note here on the 4th fret. And I'll run through this when I do the demonstration in a second, but I thought it'd be good to give you a bit of an overview as well. From there we go to a G chord and then to a G major 7 with the same note on the 4th fret of the 4th string. So what does that look like? Well, basically we've got a lead part, essentially, and then we've got a rhythm part playing the chords. That's pretty much what we have. So I'll bring the tabs up in the screen as well. But to start off with, for the first position on the lead part, get that mouse out of the way, what we're going to be doing is taking our first finger and putting it on the 8th fret of the E string. Then what I like to do is take my 3rd finger and put it on the 10th fret of the D string, which is string 4. This gives us a cool little octave shape, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. And I'll cut here because my amp is playing up at the moment. And it's back, so let's try that again. So the first thing we're going to do is take our first finger and put it on the 8th fret of our E string, which is string 6. Then what I like to do is take my 3rd finger and put it on the 10th fret of string 4. So we've got a nice little C octave shape there. And that's sort of this first note of the pattern. From there, it's going to be a little bit of a stretch. We're going to take our 4th finger and we're going to put it on fret 12. So that's our 2nd note. And then the last step that we're going to do is take that 4th finger and slide it down to fret 11. So altogether, slowly, it's going to look like this. Sounds really weird, I know. That's Lydian for you. It's a little bit funky, but in the context with everything else, it works quite well. So to practice it again, we're going to start, and I like with the right hand to strum down and kind of hit both at the same time. And then I kind of, after I've played that first note, I then just sort of focus on the high octave. There's a couple ways we could do this. We could just kind of do a bit of a lazy alternate strumming pattern. Or if you want to be a little more technical with it, I'm pedaling between the bottom C note and the melody, which is basically just if you wanted to look at the specific rhythm I've written down, I've kind of worked it out to be this sort of pattern. So 1, 2, and 3, and dum bum bam bam, like that. But you know, with all these videos being up just showing you the tab, you just kind of play along anyway. So that's our first pattern. From there, I like to go to this inverted G triad shape. So to play that, we're going to put our second finger on the 10th fret of the 10th of the 6th string. So second finger, fret 10, string 6. We're going to put our third finger on fret 10, string 5, giving us a nice little inverted power chord. And then we're going to put our first finger on fret 9, string 4. And that's how you play this triad shape. Little segue, a little tangent. We can actually move this around. It's one of my favorite ways to just play regular chords and triads without making them sound like regular open chords or regular bar chords. Just to take this little shape and move it around. But I might go into that more in another video. So for the rest of this track, we've got our little triad inversion shape. And the melody is actually going to stay pretty much exactly the same. If we were to take away this chord and just look at the actual notes, it's still the same 12 to 11 movement. But instead of playing on 10, we're playing on 9. And so when we add the bottom part of that inverted chord in, that's what we end up with. So just to go over that, our first shape is a C with a sort of Lydian sound. Our second shape is a G inverted with a G major 7th sound. So we'll play both of those parts slowly. Again, picking pattern, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think just focus on the notes of the melody. And I find for me, like, the most natural thing is approaching this as if we're strumming it. I feel like if you were to do a really accurate, detailed picking, it's cool, but I think the vibe of the track is quite laid back, so and that's the part that we have for that intro. The next part we have is the rhythm guitar. So for that one, we've basically taken the same concept and we've just used regular open chords and we're kind of building it around that. So if we have a look at the tab for a second, like we said before, we're kind of basing it around a C major chord and then we're adding in a sharp 4. And then we're adding the next chord, which is a G. I didn't add the top note of that G, I just didn't think it was necessary. And then we're changing it to a G major 7th. So what does that look like? Well, that looks like this. So we're going to start with our regular C major chord that we should all know and love. If you don't know how to play that, we're basically going to take our third finger, put it on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, our second finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, which gives us our C and our E note. Then we're going to play open G, 3rd string. First finger is going to go on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, and then the 1st finger. So there's our C major chord. Strumming pattern wise, I'm kind of just matching the same rhythm for the first part. What I've actually written down is 1, 2, and 3, 4, and we're then tying that to the first beat of the next bar. So 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 2, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. I was actually taught how to read music in Codalay, which I find works well for my students. If you know what that is, then the way we're going to look at that is ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ta, 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 ti, ti, ti. If you don't know what that is, it probably just sounds like I spoke a bunch of gibberish. I'll do a video on code delay in the future because I think, for me, it's probably one of the best ways to teach rhythm and how to read rhythm. When I was a student, I was learning, I really struggled with the idea of counting things as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, especially when you got to syncopated parts like this. It would always throw me off, and I find the same thing happens to a lot of my students now. So using code delay, I guess the example I always give people is kind of like we have so far for singers, which is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Kind of gives you a rough idea about where the notes are going to sit. I think code delay is good in the same way that it gives you a rough idea about how the rhythm is supposed to sound. But I have a habit of going on tangents, so we'll save that for another video, and we'll just stick to this. So the code delay, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ta, 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 ti, 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 ti. Strumming pattern, down, down, up, down, up, 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 down, up. If that looks confusing, just keep in mind it's basically just your regular alternate strumming pattern. We're just doing the classic trick of not playing the notes we're not meant to play, but keeping the hand moving to help us stay in time and stay accurate. So that's going to look something like this. Again, running through that slowly. Down, down, what was it? Down, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Alright? So then, after you play that 2 times, we go to the G chord. There's a few ways you could play it. You could just stick to the same fingering, which pretty much just means we move everything down 1 string and get rid of the first finger. So that should be your 3rd finger on string 6, fret 3, your 2nd finger on string 2, string 5, fret 2. And yeah, basically there's our G shape. If you want to, you could add the full chord in. I think it sounds better kind of having it a bit looser. And then from there, we're just going to add our 4th finger on fret 4, string 4, which is going to give us that G major 7th sound. Same strumming pattern, same guess length of time or bars between each variation. So that would be so altogether, the rhythm part will be this. And that's all I have so far. I'll do a part 2, which will talk about the verse and the chorus of the song as well. Basically, the goal is to just come up with, I guess, a guitar-centric arrangement and see where we go from there. I'm going to cut all this section out because it's horrible, and I'm going to do it again. So yeah, that's, I guess, where we're at with Cedar by Gracie Abrams. If you want to see the rest of the song, make sure to stick around, like and subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified. We'll be running through tutorials for songs and for guitar concepts in this very sort of relaxed one-on-one approach, because that's just how I do things. I'm not an influencer, as you can see clearly, and I'm not a YouTube personality. I'm just a dude who teaches guitar. So yeah, have fun with that one. Love to hear your thoughts and feedback on it, and we'll see you on the next one.